In my last football tactics video, I learned about the 4-3-3 formation. In today's video, I'm going to be learning why the 4-2-3-1 is the most used formation in modern football. Here we go.
The 4-2-3-1 formation is currently the most used formation in the top 5 leagues, with just under 70% of teams having played it at any point this season. It's regarded as one of the best...
Now, one thing that I've seen in the comments and makes a lot of sense to me from watching games is that these formations are more fluid. They're not rigid. So depending on the situation of the game, a manager might switch tactics even in the middle of the match based on what's going on. So think of kind of how like chess works. Like you might have a great opening line that you play, but as soon as your opponent does something that causes a variable in the game, then you change tactics completely because they have addressed the tactic that you're using, and so now it's time to change. So that's one thing I love about football is how fluid it can be, how you can adjust mid-game to whatever tactic you see. It's the same way in American football, but it's a lot more rigid in American football. You can get thrown off completely by a good game plan. Here we go.
Formations given its flexibility and compactness, making it very lethal both on attack and defense. If we take a deeper look at some of the teams that are using the 4-2-3-1, many of them are leading their respective title races. Teams such as Manchester City have had decent...
I don't know when this was filmed, so let me check this out real quick because this looks old. Yeah, this is from 2 years ago, so it might be a little outdated.
AC Milan and Bayern Munich are currently first in their respective leagues and are achieving an incredible win rate with this formation. Finally, the unexpected title contenders Manchester United are also performing very well with this formation, winning 60% of their games. Firstly, if a team intends to line up in this formation, it requires a lot of specific players to occupy the different positions on the pitch. The centre-backs need to be good ball players, as this formation usually requires teams to build up from the back line. The perfect combination would see one more technically gifted centre-back able to move the ball up the pitch with precise passes into the midfield, and one centre-back able to play long balls into the striker. We can see this in AC Milan, who will often play long balls into Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Of the two centre-backs, Kjaer plays on average 4.7 long balls per game, while Romagnoli only plays an average of 1.2, and has more responsibility in building up play through the midfield. The fullbacks...
Pause. So he's saying that of your centre-backs, you're going to have one centre-back who might be more gifted at long ball passing. He's got more accurate passes. He's just got a better touch for that. And then you have another center back who his primary role would be to move the ball forward using his midfielders. He's not going to be passing up to the forwards. He's not going to be passing up to strikers or anything like that. Or wingers. He's going to be passing primarily to midfielders, trying to open up lanes and trying to open up different things going on right there in the midfield. So of your center backs, one's probably more proficient in dribbling, short passing game, and the one's got probably really good vision for what's going on down the other side of the pitch and is able to hit the long ball. That's interesting. I would have just assumed with center backs, because it's like the same position, that they would both need to be equally good at both. But here we go.
Most crucial roles within the 4-2-3-1 and are required to have incredible stamina, as they will be supporting attack and defense constantly throughout the game. Depending on the game plan of the manager, they may also be deployed in more supportive roles, such as the inverted fullbacks, which we usually see with Guardiola in most of his teams, where they will move inside next to the centre midfielders.
So already this is similar. This is almost the same concept as the 4-3-3, and that's just because we're looking at the back line right now with the back four. So it's very similar. Your fullbacks have to play the entirety of the pitch. They have to be extremely athletic, extremely conditioned. They have to have the stamina to withstand that during the match. So that's interesting. It looks like here they're able to play kind of inside.
So far this season, Bayern Munich's fullbacks in Alphonso Davies and Pavard have been exceptional, able to support attacks and defence consistently. The midfield is composed of 2 defensive mids and 3 attacking mids. The defensive mids are relatively physical players, able to put in tackles and stop the opposition from reaching the defensive line. And on the ball, they must be able to move the ball quickly between the lines. The importance of the 2 central defensive midfielders is reflected in Bayern Munich's Goretzka and Kimmich. Within the team, Goretzka has the highest average interceptions per game. And defensively, Kimmich and Goretzka have the highest pass completion rate than anyone in the team that has played more than 5 games. So, although the defensive mids line up next to each other, their roles are rather different, with one acting as a link between defence and midfield, and the other usually used as more of a box-to-box midfielder. The 3 attacking mids are usually more technically gifted players. The wide players are very good in 1v1 situations, and the central mid is usually the playmaker in this formation, with fantastic passing precision and with ability to spot any weaknesses in the defensive line. Manchester United's attacking 3 have been phenomenal this season, with Martial.
Now, does that middle midfielder there that he's describing, is he kind of like similar to a false 9? Now, I know there's going to be one more, right? Yeah, there's going to be one more here in the play, like a striker, I'm assuming. So, would he be like a false 9 position? Like he's going to play back and he's a good playmaker, he's got good vision, he's going to play the ball to either of his wingers here or the striker. I don't know if it would technically be a false 9, but it seems like it would be kind of a similar play. I'm not truly understanding false 9, I don't think. I think a false 9 is someone who is the striker who plays back, trying to cause the defense to attack him, and while he draws the defense in, he can open up open space for the other attacking players. But I'm trying to understand it. I'm not sure I'm getting it exactly right, but here we go.
Fernandes and Rashford, all proving to be extremely dangerous when drifting inside or cutting in behind the back line. Hakan Çalhanoğlu has also been fantastic for AC Milan this season, and is the key to their attacking dynamism. The lone striker in the 4-2-3-1 is usually required to be physically threatening and have fantastic hold-up play, able to flick the ball on to the runners either side of him. He must be able to support the possession play of the team and have good link-up play with the centre midfielder. It's common for the lone striker to play as a false 9 and to drop deep in the midfield to open up the space behind him.
Okay.
Both Lewandowski and Ibrahimovic have been fantastic for their teams this season. They are both physically threatening.
So, I think maybe he answered my question. A false 9 might be a lone striker, like the lone striker position, because he's playing out of place, causing the defense to tighten up on him. So maybe I was misunderstanding what the false 9 does, but it seemed like that midfielder right there in the middle can also kind of play that role, but he wouldn't be a false 9 because he's not attracting defense away from their normal position. And that's probably why it's called a false 9, is because the 9 is not playing or the striker is not playing where he's supposed to be. Striker would be a 10. So the striker would be a 10, but he's playing in the 9 position, like a false 9. So does that make that midfielder just the normal 9? I'm trying to figure things out, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. Let me know. I've got so many questions. Load me up with comments down below and subscribe while you're at it.
And very difficult to dispossess, and are extremely clinical finishers. Now we've seen the type of players that are required for the 4-2-3-1 to be successful, let's take a deeper look at the attacking threats it possesses. Firstly, the main advantages when lining up in this formation is the cover the team has all over the pitch, and the relatively short distances between players. By dividing the pitch into 4 equal zones, we can see that this formation can often provide a numerical advantage on either wing. 2 players will always be out wide, with the attacking midfielder being able to move out wide and create an overload in the area of the pitch that may need it. As we can see here, the attacking mid can move into the right inside channel, and the other winger will move into the left inside channel to ensure there are always 3 players in the middle, and the fullback can stick out wide on the other wing to stretch the opposition. This formation is most effective when building.
These formations are so flexible. You could switch into a 4-3-3 easy. You could easily change tactics by just dropping a player here or there and reorganizing the way that they're lining up. And so you probably, let's say, like, imagine I was coaching a team over here, which might happen, by the way. And let's say I wanted to run with a 4-3-3 to start out, but I realize quickly that, it might be more effective to pull out a 4-2-3-1. I probably would have, I don't know, like a pet nickname for each formation. We might have, like in American football, if I'm going to run a blitz from the right side, we might call Raider, or Roger or something like that. And if we want to run one from the left side, we might call Laser or Lightning. And so everyone on the field knows, if they hear me on the sidelines, Raider, 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 they know that means we're blitzing from the right, not the other team, but my guys know what they're doing. Or if I'm going to call Hulk smash, they know that we're going to sweep the ball to the left side on offense. We're going to sweep the ball to the left, and so my players know these cues. They know that if I call Lightning, if I call Raider, if I call Hulk, if I call some of these nicknames, they know what to do. And so if I was coaching this, and I had a name for each formation that we might possibly run, and I get out there and I realize, man, 4-3-3 really isn't, it's not getting the job done that I want it to get done right now, then maybe I could call out Laser or call it whatever. The guys would know what the nicknames were and which formation you drop into. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is almost indistinguishable from the 4-3-3 at some points. And it's because there's such malleability with how these formations interchange, because you can just drop players and very quickly. You don't have to even, you don't have to huddle up and set up a new play design. You can just call out a new formation and drop into it really fast.
From the back. The centre backs will usually split, and the first phase will see one of the CDMs coming short to collect the ball. The fullbacks will usually push high up the pitch and try and stretch the opposition press as much as possible. So, on the ball, the formation will almost immediately switch to a 3-3-3-1 if being pressed high up the pitch. The defensive mids will usually position themselves on a staggered line and create opportunities for the team to move the ball up the pitch. One structure that is common in this formation is the diamond that is created between the fullback and the two defensive mids, with one CDM at the tip of the diamond and the other will move in parallel to the fullback. This shape ensures there is always support in case of pressure, and is a way of creating an overload in possession. This diamond also opens up many opportunities moving up. For example, the winger can come short and swap with the CDM, and the cam can drop deeper and help switch play to the other wing, where there is more likely space to move down. The centre attacking midfielder
such malleability, man,
and will need to have a good understanding with the striker, as they often switch places during the match. We can see this in how Man United have been playing this season, with Cavani or Martial dropping deep into the midfield and Bruno Fernandes cutting in behind on the overlap. The central attacking midfielder will also be the player key to creating overloads high up the pitch. While one of the defensive mids will be playing as a box-to-box midfielder, the centre attacking mid will usually be playing from side to side, linking the wingers with the striker and finding players on the overlap. The striker will be constantly shifting between the lines to open up space for his teammates. On crosses, he will attempt to get in between the goalkeeper and the centre-backs, and during build-up, he will usually come short between the defence and the midfielders to lay the ball off to the runners either side of him. A perfect example of this can be seen in West Ham's previous game against Leeds, where Antonio comes deep to collect in the midfield and opens up the space behind him for Soucek to get into. As mentioned earlier, the fullbacks are required to support both attack and defence, and will usually move high up alongside the attacking midfielders. They will also need to have good link-up play with the wide midfielders. If the fullback is wide, then the attacking mid will move into the half space or cut in behind. On the other hand, if the winger is out wide, then the fullback can either act as support or make runs on the inside. In the final phase, the team will often find themselves lined up as a 2-4-1-3 or as a 2-4-4, able to stretch the defence and deliver crosses into the box. Not only is the 4-2-3-1 extremely effective on attack, it's also incredibly solid defensively, with up to 4 players always available to stop any dangerous counterattacks. Of the top teams currently playing the 4-2-3-1, the majority of them will press from the front when attempting to regain possession. If defending with the front two, then the striker and the cam will press the centre-backs, with the wingers tucking inside either side of the CDMs, and thus shifting to a 4-4-2. If defending with a lone striker, teams will usually shift into a 4-5-1, and most commonly form a triangular shape in midfield to stop any balls into the middle. The advantages of this formation is also the amount of central players that it possesses, and having 3 midfielders will ensure that teams are forced to play out wide and attempt to score from crosses. The 2 CDMs, if positioned correctly, can easily block any balls into the half spaces, and the compactness in the middle.
I would imagine that it's more effective defensively to eat up as much of that midfield area as absolutely possible. To have a menacing presence right there in the middle, because it forces players to play from the outside, and it's difficult to score from the outside. It's not a good position to be in offensively. You want to have the ball coming through the middle if possible. At least that's from what I understand. Being the expert that I am 7 months into this journey, I don't see very often teams scoring from a position of the outside of the pitch. And so trying to force the ball outside to where they have to cross it in, I think, is more effective and causes more opportunities for the defense to cause turnovers, interceptions, and counterattack opportunities, because crosses are more difficult, less high percentage than progressing the ball through the middle of the pitch. So I think like any formation that's going to allow me to have a presence right there in the middle of the pitch and force the ball to the outside, that's going to be something that from my perspective that I'm going to want to do, if at all possible. Now, it's easy for me to break down some of these tactics while I have a video that I can stop and pause and think about. When it's all happening at real time, at real speed, sometimes it's hard for me to analyze what's going on. So hopefully these videos will help me start to pick up on this stuff as I watch the games unfold. Here we go.
It's difficult for any opposing playmakers to have enough time on the ball. So as we just saw, this formation has a lot of potential of being extremely dangerous on attack and extremely solid defensively. However, with a lot of moving parts having to work together, if not executed correctly, it can leave a lot of weaknesses for the opposition to exploit. If the opposition's team is playing with a front 2, then the defense can often find themselves in a 2v2 situation, especially if the midfielders have pushed high up on the pitch. Having 2 defensive mids is essential for connecting attack and defense, but if out of position, the opposition can easily exploit space in front of the back 4. Secondly, the positioning in the midfield is very important, and it's fundamental for the defensive mids to be staggered on a diagonal line. For example, when defending, if playing as a flat 2, then a ball...
Man, each player's got to do their job, man. It's the same thing in American football. Like, if one player misses an assignment, they have a weakness to exploit, and every effort by the other 10 players can just be ruined if one guy doesn't know his job. And so many times I've seen that happen as a coach, where like we had the perfect play designed to beat the defense that they were running, and I knew that we had the right play called, because if we sweep it out to the right, they're not gonna be in position, but we needed one player to make a block. And it all hinged on that block. If we can get one player blocked off, then we have a wide open lane for the running back to take off. And so we have the exact right play called. It was going to get us a first down. It's going to be an important part of the game. And the tight end doesn't pull. He's supposed to make that block. And he doesn't know his assignment. He stays on the wrong side of the formation. And there's no one there to block the defender. The play gets blown up in the backfield. We lose yardage on the play. When if just one player knew his assignment, he knew the playbook, he knew the play that I had designed and put into practice that week, if he had just known what he was supposed to do right then that play runs for, 15, 20 yards, gets us the first down, and gets us, it might have scored a touchdown. It was the perfect play call at the right moment, and one player doesn't know his assignment. So I can see that here. If one player is playing out of position, just a little too far to the right or the left, that opens up space for them to get an overload with numbers headed towards the goal. And you don't want that to happen. Guys, you've got to do your job. If you don't do your job, you're wasting the effort of the other 10 players on the pitch. Wow.
between the two can easily cut the line, and the opposition will find themselves up against the centre-backs. Finally, just as important as the space between the CDMs and the centre-backs is the space between the CDMs and the attacking midfield three. A mistake that teams in this formation often make is the disconnect between the midfield players, with the attacking three not coming deep in the pitch to collect the ball. If the cam is out of position or marked effectively by the opposing team, then it can be difficult for the team to move up the pitch successfully. So, the space between the two defensive mids and the three attacking mids needs to be confined, as if there is a big disconnect between them, then it's easier for the opposition to intercept passes or move up the pitch when in possession. When executed correctly, the 4-2-3-1 is one of the most exciting formations to watch. The tight spaces between the players allows for some very intricate passing displays. And there's a reason why the top managers in Europe have adopted this formation within their teams, and I believe it will stay this way for the next few seasons. Now, what do you think of the 4-2-3-1? And what is your favourite formation that you like to watch your team play? If you like this type of content, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and leave any suggestions for future videos in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.
Alright, yeah, do like and subscribe to his channel. He's been very helpful for me trying to learn modern football tactics, things like that. If you guys like this video, go ahead and smash that like button for me and subscribe to the channel. That's super helpful. If you want some extra content, you can go over to my Patreon, or you can join channel memberships. Both channel members and Patreon members get the same perks, extra videos, just some extra perks that I've given over there for the channel members and Patreon users. Yeah, if you guys like what you saw and you want to comment down below and let me know a little bit more that I can understand about tactics. I'm loving this journey. I am an American football coach, so our game, the gridiron version of football, I love it. I grew up playing it. I was good at it, and now I've coached it. I love drawing up plays. I understand American football really well, and so I can, from a tactical perspective, I love game tactics. And so this is the side of football that I haven't done my due diligence in like I should. So you guys seem to like the last one. If you guys like these tactical videos, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll keep doing this kind of content alongside my other videos that I make. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.